In front of another packed house at Coors Field. The Rockies with their win last night, 60-49, and the Cubs come in 57-50 in a battle with the Cardinals in the National League Central. Welcome everybody, good evening. I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies last night prevailed 6-2. They now are 40-17 since June the 4th. The best record in Major League Baseball. They're also on a roll here at the friendly confines of Coors Field. Let me bring in my partner, Jeff Houston. Last night the Rockies got going early against Sean Marshall, who was an emergency starter with the injury to the scheduled starting pitcher last night, Carlos Zambrano. And the good thing is not only they get a quick start, they built on that after 2 ball games at Philadelphia where they really struggled to score.
Well, they did. They scored 1 run, struck out 22 times out in Philadelphia. And when you have a guy like Zambrano that is supposed to start, he doesn't. You put in an emergency starter. This is what you're supposed to do against him. You go out there, you thump him early, you jump on him, you don't really give him a chance to breathe at all, and you can see what the top of the lineup did all the way from 1 to 8. Even Omar had a walk. He was productive out there. So you look at it as a manager's standpoint and an opposing manager. Anytime you can have the production from 1 through 8, where do you draw the line? Where do you say, well, we can't let this guy beat us, or we can't let that guy beat us? Well, last night that didn't happen because everybody contributed. I mean, you got Todd Helton driving in a couple runs, Cargo with a double and a triple. You had Dexter Fowler, emergency starter last night because of Seth Smith and the lineup change. He hits a triple and has 3 hits. So, I mean, it was all good for Jim Tracy.
No question. The first 5 hitters in the lineup, as you saw, had 10 knocks last night. And this evening, the Rockies will turn to the former Cub, Jason Marquis, who beat the Cubs earlier this year. Perfect evening for baseball. Back upstairs with Jeff Houston. I'm Drew Goodman. Let's set the pitching matchups for the rest of this series. Last night it was supposed to be, obviously, Zambrano going for the Cubs. He's been placed on the disabled list. More on that a little bit later. Jason Marquis tonight for the Rockies against Ryan Dempster. And then tomorrow, Jason Hamill will go against Randy Wells, who's been a big surprise and a pleasant one for the Chicago Cubs this year. And then on Monday night, it'll be Jorge De La Rosa for the Rockies against the recent pickup for the Pirates, the left-hander Tom Gorzolani. Let's talk more about tonight, obviously. Marquis looking for his 13th win.
Yeah, the third time he's going to try to go for number 13. You think back to his last outing that he had in Cincinnati, 7 strong innings, gave up 4 hits. Unfortunately, one of the hits was a home run to end up tying the ball game. Rockies were able to come back and win. But this outing he had against the Cubs way back in April 15th, 7 innings, 5 hits, and that's one of those things as a pitcher, you want to go out, or a position player, doesn't matter, you want to go out and prove to the other team that you were with, that hey, you lost something when you let me go. He's going to look for that again tonight.
Well, against his former clubs this year, so far he's 3-1, so he's done a lot of that already. We are set for baseball. It'll be a whole lot of fun. The Rockies and the Cubs. Come on back to Coors Field. Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by American Family Insurance. To find an American Family Insurance agent near you, visit amfam.com. By E470 and Express Toll, the best way to save time and money. By Quest, get 2 free gigs of online backup with Quest high-speed internet. And by Nissan and your Nissan dealer. You know, the Rockies are playing outstanding baseball at home after a very slow start at Coors Field. As you look at Lou Piniella, who's in his 3rd season as the Cubs manager. And here's his lineup. He continues to shake things up, trying to get more production, particularly out of the 5-hole. Here's Ryan Theriot up front, Milton Bradley in the 2-hole. Derek Lee, who's had a lot of success against Jason Marquis, will be batting 3rd. Then Aramis Ramirez. Kosuke Fukudome, who led off last night, drops to the 5 spot. Then Alfonso Soriano, Giovanni Soto, Aaron Miles getting the start at second base, and the pitcher Ryan Dempster. Here's the Fidelity scouting report on Marquis.
Oh, he's going to have to work both sides of the plate with the lefties, righties. He needs that to be able to sink the ball, utilize his defense out there. Curveball and occasional changeup. If you look what Jason Marquis is able to do this year, in all but 3 of his starts, he's gone 6+ innings. So you know he's going to give you a little bit of length out there. Make sure that bullpen is set up just the way Jim Tracy wants to set it up and use it, not to have to use it.
Take a look at the gloves behind Marquis. Seth Smith, Carlos Gonzalez, Brad Hopp in the outfield. The infielders typically busy with Marquis on the mound. Stewart, Tulowitzki, Omar Quintanilla again at second. Todd Helton at first, Chris Iannetta doing the catching. So 2 straight starts for Quintanilla. Clint Barmas continues to work some things out in the cage offensively. And that first pitch from Marquis rides way inside. Ball 1 on the Cubs shortstop, Ryan Theriot. Good, solid player.
Oh, he is. I mean, he can bat anywhere in the lineup, too. He can bat 1, 2. He bat 8 last night. Tried switch hitting when he first broke into pro ball and quickly scrapped that idea after a couple years, went strictly to right-handed. His career took off.
And this ball is lifted to right field. Brad Hopp is in the neighborhood, and Theriot is retired. Let's take a look at our keys to the game, brought to you by Burt Automotive. Jeff?
Well, first and foremost is going to be the Cubs bullpen, because Samardzija's not available, Sean Marshall's not, so they had to call up Jeff Stevens for a little bit of reinforcement because of Zambrano. And then focus here. You already know that San Francisco beat Cincinnati today, 4-2, but then draw on the energy from the crowd. I thought the Rockies did an outstanding job with that last night when they were able to come home. It seemed like they had an extra bounce in their step. Use that again tonight.
Milton Bradley trying to bunt his way on. Fouls it off. Milton, who played for Jim Tracy in 2004 with the Dodgers. They got together for a moment prior to the ball game. Jim came by and gave him a big hug. Had an opportunity to talk to Milton after that. He said, I loved playing for Jim Tracy.
Well, I don't think there's anybody we've talked to that says they didn't like playing for Jim Tracy. I mean, in all our travels, everywhere he's been, he just seems like one of those guys that everybody says, yeah. I mean, he's a player's manager.
Hard man not to like.
Yeah.
And this ball is hit pretty well. Gonzalez going back, Smith going back, and he's going to have to field it off the wall. And it's a 1-out double for Bradley. He hit that with authority the other way. It is 86 degrees. And if anything that we learned from batting practice carries over, the ball is carrying very well.
Well, it is, and he just stayed on that sinker, down and away from him. He see from the Hyundai cam, the rotation on the baseball going away. He got it right on the sweet spot part of the bat and drove it hard with that full extension, with those arms going out there, keeping those hips inside the baseball. And all Seth Smith could do was pick it up once it hit the wall.
Now, this is the toughest out, not only in their lineup night in and night out, but particularly for Jason Marquis. First pitch is in there for a strike. At some point, the pendulum has to swing in the direction of Marquis, because Derek Lee in 33 at bats has 16 hits, including 4 home runs.
And 10 RBIs to go along with that. So, yeah, you look at it, Jason's got to do one of two things: dust him off a little bit and then keep the ball away from him. And dust him off, I mean, make sure that you go ahead and pitch inside. You can't be afraid, because he has those numbers against you that you can't work on the inside part of the plate. And Big D Lee wants to get those arms extended, so you got to jam him right above those hands.
Just inside. Well, last night Derek Lee thought he gave the Cubs a 4-3 lead with this swing, but Carlos Gonzalez went up to the 390 sign and made the catch. And I asked Derek today, I said, did you think you got it? And he said, I thought I got it good enough. I thought it was out. He said, I didn't crush it. He said, but I thought it was out of here. This ball is a shot at Quintanilla. What a pickup. What a pickup. That's how you know, when a guy has your number, that's how you get him out.
That's right. You hope he hits it at somebody, and that's exactly what Derek Lee did. I mean, when Jason threw this ball, it was 91 miles an hour. That ball was scorched right back at him. I'm surprised he even able to get his glove up there. But then Omar, so smooth, able to just stay right in front of it.
How about Omar's concentration, because Jim Reynolds was right in front of him. The second base umpire.
Well, and that's the advantage of playing second base. You notice how he dropped down to one knee in case something happened. That ball wasn't going to get by him. One more look at this, and it's exactly what you're talking about, Drew. You got the umpire right in front of you. He's got to get out of the way at the last second. I mean, look at Jim Reynolds right there. I mean, all of a sudden, as a second baseman, you're sitting there going, okay, where's the ball? Where's the ball? Oh, there it is. Oh, I got it. I'll throw him out. I mean, nothing that Jim Reynolds did. He's in the right position as the ball was hit so hard.
1-1 on Aramis Ramirez. Always a tough out. 372 average with runners in scoring position. Last night he took the collar. The Cubs have just 2 runs in their last 2 ball games. They were shut out in Cincinnati on Wednesday 4-0. And last night fell 6-2 to the Rockies. Just 9 hits the last 2 ball games. 2 outs. Bradley at second. And a good hard sinker down and in.
But I think a lot of the credit last night has to go to Ubaldo Jimenez, because I talked to Derek Lee, I talked to Giovanni Soto today, both those guys, and they were just marveling at the stuff that Ubaldo had. And, you know, yeah, he walked some guys, didn't give up many hits, didn't have a whole lot of strikeouts like we've seen from Ubaldo in the past. He had 6 last night, but they were saying you couldn't just pick up the ball. It was moving so much, it's so hard at 97, 98 miles an hour that they just kind of tipping their cap to him.
Here's the 1-2. Swung on and missed. Good job by Marquis. Strikes out Ramirez with Bradley at second. So Omar Quintanilla helps out with a fine defensive play, and then Marquis helps himself with the punch out. Carlos Gonzalez, last 6 games, that's pretty good average, 571. Then Helton with a 12-game hitting streak. And on down the lineup in the box, ready to go is Seth Smith, who brings a 295 average into the affair. And you may be at home saying, well, how can Jim Tracy sit down Dexter Fowler? He had 3 hits last night. He's been platooning a little bit more. When there's a righty on the hill, he wants to get Seth Smith's bat in there. And the way Carlos Gonzalez has played both ways, he's got to have his bat out there, and of course his glove moves to center field.
Well, you just look at Seth Smith's on base percentage, 391. I think the rest for Dexter Fowler has done him well too. You saw the bat last night, a little bit more crisp coming through the zone. And that's where you keep guys fresh and honest. By not running him out, especially when you have the opportunity to flip Dexter over onto the right side, let him hit right-handed, Seth Smith hitting left-handed. You got a lot of options going out there, and then when you get the lead, you can put Dexter out for defense in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning.
Yep. So Ryan Dempster, who is a Colorado resident, and the 2-2 is lined to left, and Soriano reaches up and makes the catch. He plays one of the deepest left fields in the game, always has, if they converted from the infield. Here's the scouting report brought to you by Fidelity on the Canadian from BC, Ryan Dempster.
Yep, excuse me, not overpowering, 88 to 92. Will sink it, use it to both sides of the plate, cut it inside, slider, a little late break to it, and then the split finger, downward action. The thing with Dempster that you really cannot be fooled with is all the glove action he does before he decides to deliver the ball. You really don't pay attention to that at all, because that is one thing that he does it because he sets the ball in as a split finger grip, and he thought he was tipping pitches out, so he'll go ahead and do it all the time. That's what I'm talking about. Kind of flip the glove right back and forth before he decides to come deliver the ball. Don't worry about that. Just look for that window when that arm comes up that you look through to find the baseball.
2 strikes on Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez and Fowler both tripled in the game yesterday. The Rockies now lead the National League in triples. Showed him the fastball up. Dempster, when he gets ahead, like so many guys who possess a split finger, it's more of a swing and miss pitch, and that's what Dempster will break out.
Right, and that's why he went with the high fastball to then change the eye angle, work back downstairs now.
That was a split. Ooh, delayed strike 3 called by Angel Campos. Gonzalez thought it was a wet.
Or maybe up, too. I mean, anytime a pitcher misses his location by that much, usually you don't get the called strike. Notice where Soto said the ball's going to end up right over in that area. And he actually had to grab that, bring it back over from the Hyundai cam. Watch how much his hand moves. The glove moves before he brings it back over to the outside part of the plate.
He missed that one.
He did, plain and simple. I mean, you look at it, it might have caught the outside corner, but that ball was up.
Yeah, that definitely looked up. Todd Helton with a 12-game hitting streak. He had a couple of knocks and a couple of RBIs last night. And he tomahawks this one into the air in right field. Milton Bradley has it. Dempster has himself a 1-2-3 first inning. We'll go to the second, no score. Lutheran Medical Center. Carlos Zambrano could not make the start yesterday. He's been placed on the 15-day disabled list, retroactive to August 2nd when he left the ballgame after 3 innings against Houston. Back spasms. Jeff Stevens has been recalled. He was just up, just sent out. So he's now back in the big leagues. Here's Fukudome, and he takes a strike on the outside corner. Now, Zambrano had to leave that ballgame 2 starts ago because of back spasms. What bothered, I think, the Cubs, though they're not saying this is foul, is the fact that he didn't take any treatment on the back between starts. It was as if he said, you know what, I think it's okay.
Well, you have to. I mean, if you don't think you're going to be able to start, you have to get treatment. He came out, took batting practice, and all of a sudden it leaves Lou Piniella and the rest of the staff short-handed, and also it's not fair to the rest of your teammates.
Pounded into the ground, gets a sinker, and Fukudome is retired.
With Zambrano going on the DL, you mentioned Jeff Stevens coming up, but Jeff Samardzija, who threw 70-something pitches last night in the ball game, Actually, 73 pitches. He's going to make the next start for Zambrano against the Phillies. There's Samardzija.
And
Notre
Lou,
Dame star.
Yeah, Lou was very complimentary of Samardzija. He gave up a couple runs in 4 innings. He said he saved our bullpen last night.
Oh, didn't he?
And he did. He threw the ball well, and he's going to get the start, as Jeff mentioned. So he's down there hanging out with his buddies, but he will not appear tonight. Can't. Nor will Sean Marshall. Soriano. Here's the 1-0, and that ball is hooked foul. Alfonso Soriano uses one of the bigger bats in baseball, doesn't he?
He really does. That thing is a log compared to what every other guy's swinging. Most of the guys now will swing 34, 32 ounce bat, maybe a 34-inch, 31.5, but he uses one that's really, really heavy.
And that ball is a bullet down the left field line. Soriano, he still runs pretty well, will jog into second. Second double of the night for the Cubs. Milton Bradley had a 1-out double in the first, and now Soriano a 1-out double in the second.
A sinker that did not get in as much as Marquis wanted it. Little late kick puts his foot right back down where it was. Ian Stewart, I'm not sure if he had a difficult time seeing that ball because he never really jumped for it. It looked like he started to go after it, and then it was like, I'm not sure where it is, so I can't jump because if it comes down a little bit lower, I'll have an opportunity to get it. He just didn't see the ball.
Soto hits one that Quintanilla grabs, and a walk to the bag, double play, end of inning. Soriano red hit. Quintanilla was positioned perfectly by Richie Dower, the infield instructor. Nice play by Q. Cubs a game out in the National League Central. The Rockies began play today in a tie with the Giants, trailing the Dodgers, who lost yesterday by 6.5. Troy Tulowitzki takes inside from Ryan Dempster, ball 1. Now, as Jeff mentioned earlier, the Giants have already won today, 4-2. The final score as they beat Cincinnati out in San Francisco, outside 2-0.
How about that wacky comeback that Cincinnati had against the Giants last night?
All of a sudden the Giants forgot how to play defense.
Yeah, well, 4 or 5 runs in the last half of that inning, or top half of that inning, without a one base hit, couple errors, sack fly.
They made 5 errors in the game.
Yeah.
So the Giants win, and the updated wild card now, the Giants a half game ahead of the Rockies. The Cubs are 2.5 back. Florida, who the Rockies will see next week, 4.5 back. Don't sleep on Atlanta or Houston. Here's the 2-1 outside. 3 balls and a strike on Tulowitzki. That's what occasionally will get Dempster in trouble, and that is the walks.
Yeah, tries to be a little bit too fine.
And Troy hits it high in the air to deep right field. He just missed it, though. Bradley in front of the track makes the catch. Time to check in with the birthday girl. Our Mike Shaw auto update. Here is Alana Rizzo. Happy birthday, Alana.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
29 again.
Yeah, 29 again. And it feels so great for the 5th time. All right, guys, I want to talk a little bit more about Ryan Dempster. You know, he grew up in a part of Canada that could only be reached by ferry. That town, by the name of Gibbons, was in the thanks. My birthday screwed me up. In the Canadian province of British Columbia. Well, that town did not have a baseball team for his high school, so he had to take a 2-hour trip south to Vancouver every single day to try to make his dreams of playing in the major leagues a reality. So during the week when he had to go to practice or play in games, he would have to take the trip on the ferry 2 hours, so he'd have to miss his final class just to get over there to make it happen. I'm not encouraging kids to miss your final class to get there, but it actually worked out for Ryan Dempster, guys.
I'm sure he's still all broken up.
Yeah,
about
I'm sure
that.
he's crushed. His parents, too, I'm sure.
Yeah,
well, I'm sure he used that time to study, too.
Yes. Studied the art of the split-fingered fastball. Worked out nicely for Dempster. Ryan makes his home and has for a while here in Colorado. Originally he lived right near the ballpark. Lived in one of the lofts downtown. Since has moved up the hills a little bit. 2-2 on Brad Hopp.
But that's some dedication. You realize that, you know what, while the rest of your buddies are at home doing their thing, you like to hang out with them. But no, I've got this dream of playing ball, and I got to hop on a ferry to do it.
Hopp goes down swinging, 2 outs. And that'll bring up Ian Stewart.
Well, you see the sign from Giovanni Soto about the split finger and really torquing that arm, coming straight down. Hyundai Cam, not much movement on the ball until it gets about 5 feet in front of the plate. And the off-balance swing from Brad didn't allow him to catch up to it.
You know, the game plan's an interesting one offensively with Dempster. You want to be patient because he will fall behind in the count. But you also don't want to get deep with him because then the split finger comes into play, and it's a very difficult pitch, as you saw Brad Hopp.
Well, I think it's an oxymoron, kind of patiently aggressive.
Yeah.
Is what you want to do. You want to be aggressive when you see that fastball in the zone like that pitch right there. But that's the key, to be able to hit that pitch so you don't fall behind 1-2. Because when you get behind, when he gets behind in the count, I mean, those numbers, when you're talking when Dempster's 2-0, he's pretty good hitting.
Shattered bat, and Bradley's going to make the catch. So Dempster has seen 6, and he's retired all 6 so far. No score as we go to the 3rd inning. Aaron Miles will lead it off for the Cubs. for 2 more days. It's stick around through the weekend series. 4-game set will be conclude on Monday night, and then the Pirates are in town, and then it's off to South Beach.
Yeah, right around my birthday time there. Make sure you get the gift, partner.
Your birthday is coming up, isn't it?
Why do you think I told you?
What would you like?
We'll give it some thought.
All right, Aaron Miles steps in. Miles, a Rocky in 2004 and 2005, hit 288 in the Rockies uniform, which is almost identical to his career average coming into this year. 289 coming in. Aaron's battled some injuries this year, and his average well beneath his normal standards. He's at 197. Here's the 1-1.
Just don't see many guys choke up as much as Aaron Miles anymore.
Here's Aaron through the years. In 06, he won a ring with the St. Louis Cardinals, hit 364, in fact, in the postseason. Last year, he hit 317. Played a lot of shortstop for the Cardinals and Tony La Russa last year. That earned him a 2-year deal as a free agent with the Cubs. Cardinals wanted him back. And this is softly hit, grabbed by Tulowitzki. I like how Richie Dower described his infield to me earlier. He said, there's such great range, and there's no drop off when Quintanilla comes out and plays occasionally. But, you know, Barmes, who has shortstop range, he said it's like a windshield wiper. He goes, they cover everything in that infield.
Well, and that's comforting for the pitcher, too, because he knows I can make a mistake, something can happen, but they're still going to be able to get to the ball.
Ryan Dempster hits a Baltimore chop, and Marquis almost lost his footing when he fielded that. I hope he didn't turn an ankle.
Well, sometimes you can jam your foot into right into the end of your cleat there, and you keep having to back up, and then you think about falling off that backside, losing your balance, but he's able to have enough wherewithal to make sure he had it before he made the throw over to first base. Yeah, that's exactly what he did. He kind of dug his foot into the ground, and that hurts because that puts pressure on that big toe right to the end of that cleat. It kind of numbs that toe up just for a second.
Guys who have to wear the spikes every day, if you watch batting practice, folks, you'll notice players, almost none of them will wear spikes. They'll wear sneakers, they'll wear something soft that's a little easier on the feet. Now, I'm sure you were the same way, Huey.
Well, exactly. And two, when you take batting practice, they put this mat down. So you're not hitting off the dirt, so it's really like an AstroTurf substance that you'll hit off of. So you go ahead and wear your tennis shoes or your turf shoes to save the wear and tear on your feet.
Ball and a strike on Ryan Theriot.
Excuse me, when you're playing every day, I mean, it's nice to have that luxury where you don't have to put your spikes on until game time.
Theriot lines it to right center field. Gonzalez got to cut it off. He will. Theriot wide turn, hold up. Ball skips on that quick outfield grass. That's why you have to have, in this ballpark, great speed in center field, and you hope to have it also in left field, because left field, there's a lot of ground to cover.
That's the luxury of having a guy like Carlos Gonzalez, who last night played left field. He can play center field. He's filled in right field for Brad Hopp. When you got guys out there like Brad Hopp's arm, Carlos Gonzalez' arm, pretty tough to run on.
Theriot got a big jump. Bradley,
I'm surprised he swung.
Yeah, usually an experienced hitter will pick up the runner got a huge jump because it was not a hit and run.
No, and Theriot has 14 stolen bases on the year. Got a real nice jump. You see Bradley trying to shoot the hole from where Troy Tulowitzki vacated it, but with 2 outs, no count on you, go ahead and take a pitch. There's nothing wrong hitting 0-1. Let him get in a scoring position so you can drive him in.
Good pickup by Iannetta. The challenge of a catcher through the grind of 162 games. Maintain focus, maintain chemistry with everyone on the pitching staff, and also, oh, by the way, keep your quickness and your ability to shift and block balls.
And you also have to hit.
Here's the 1-1. Theriot goes again, and once again Bradley fouls it back. Let's take a look at the top of the order. Stolen bases by leadoff hitter since 2007. And the Rockies had Willie Taveras up top stealing a lot of bases. The Cubs have been, you know, through the years, you've never thought of the Cubs as a speed team. They've always been a, you know, a hit the 3-run home run kind of team.
Yeah, especially in that ballpark.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to tailor your ball club to your ballpark, and with the short power alleys there, you know, why waste an out trying to steal a base? Go ahead and wait for the homer.
Bradley hits it in the air to center field, and Gonzalez comes on. He makes the catch, and that's all for the Cubs in the third. Terrio left at first base. No score. We'll see Iannetta at the bottom of the order next. .689 ERA. 15 appearances, 8 starts. Of course, Dempster was the Cubs closer between 2005 and 2007. And first pitch, ball 1 on Iannetta. And this is an easy play for Ryan Dempster, 1 out. It's Saturday night time for the AMCO Clutch Plays of the Week. Well, in Philadelphia on Tuesday, the Rockies won 8-3, and Garrett Atkins had 4 RBIs, including a 2-run home run early. Troy Tulowitzki played great defense. Rich plays great defense. That was a play last night, and then Chris Iannetta going deep last night with a man aboard. Our AMCO Clutch Plays of the Week brought to you by AMCO, AA MCO. Omar Quintanilla takes a strike. Last night, he was only Rocky regular without a hit, though he did reach on a walk.
We're talking to Omar today in the dugout before batting practice, and I've been in that situation before where you get the rare start, and he said, "Are you sore today?" He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "There's a lot of places I woke up this morning going, why is that sore?" But the thing about it is, you can do all the preparing that you want, do all the base running, the hitting, doing all of that. But then you add the fact of, oh, I'm amped up for the game, my adrenaline's going, you got 46,000 people, you're playing 9 innings, something that you haven't done for 371 days since his last consecutive starts. 371 days since he started back-to-back ball games.
Wow.
Yeah, last time was July 31st and August 2nd of last year, 3 in a row at Florida.
2-2. And a base hit for Quintanilla. So Omar gets the first hit of the night for the Rockies. And that'll bring up Jason Marquis.
All the at-bats he had last night, all the pitches. Now all of a sudden you're starting to pick it up a little bit. The Hyundai Cam, get that front foot locked in. in the head positioning, staying behind the baseball, hit it right over the head of Ramos Ramirez. At first thought he might have a chance to get that line drive, but no, now Omar's got his first hit, his last since June 22nd.
Ryan Dempster, teammate the last couple of years with Jason Marquis, knows he can handle the bat. Marquis going to show bunt.
Well, that was the old ploy from Dempster. Well, let's see what the hitter's going to do. And that's why Marquis squared around so early. Show him the bunt. Now, well, in the back of your mind, because Marquis can't handle the bat, you might have the opportunity to pull it back if you want to.
Which he did, and a kick save by Dempster. It's going to work out. So they put the slug bunt on. Dempster made the kick save and a beauty.
Well, he did.
He got the out at first.
Well, that's why he's Canadian.
Absolutely.
His roots. Hockey background there. Goes out there, kicks it, and then kicks it to from his right foot to his left foot. That's pretty difficult to do. Kicked it there, dropped right down, picked it up barehanded. Really, the guy in all of this that was pretty lucky was Seth Smith, who was on the on-deck circle. I don't know if we got a shot of that, but that bat went flying, and he almost got hit standing on the on-deck circle. Well, the bat's split in half, and Jason was left with the handle, and the barrel went back towards Seth Smith.
You know, we've seen 3 or 4 broken bats already tonight.
Hey, watch this now. Seth Smith's getting his timing down. All of a sudden, he's got to kind of duck, get out of the way. Unfortunately, that screen was there to keep that bat from going into the stands.
The Cubs have had a couple of opportunities with runners in scoring position. Jason Marquis has gotten the big outs. This is the Rockies' first opportunity to score. 2 outs. Seth Smith with a 1-0 count. Omar Quintanilla at second base. Two 2-0. Fans, feed your Rockies fever at Taco Bell. If the Rockies score 7 or more runs during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6. Feed your fever with 4 tacos for $1. That's a strike. And as always, when you make your way to Taco Bell, check the store for more details. Good friends at Taco Bell.
Still thinking of those tacos that they brought in last night for us.
You didn't share. You ate them all.
Sure, with Doug.
This is fouled off. 2-2 on Smith. Next home run for Seth Smith. He'll become the 7th Rocky with 10+ home runs this year.
I kind of knew that going into the season. They had an opportunity to have quite a few guys getting that double-digit mark. Just watching them during spring training, some of the guys, Seth Smith getting an opportunity to play quite a bit. Let's not forget Clint Barmas and what he's been able to do with the bat. 14 home runs. You throw Helton, Hop, Tulo in there. Ian Stewart.
Up and down that lineup.
Yeah.
Here's the 2-2 again, and it's on the ground at second. So Dempster gets Seth Smith with Quintanilla standing at second base. We'll go to the 4th inning.
Atlanta, one of his former teams, of course, the Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, and these very own Chicago Cubs, guys.
All right, Alana, thank you. 1-0 on Derek Lee leading off the 4th inning. He hit an absolute rocket at Omar Quintanilla, who fielded it and threw him out. An interesting story. Derek Lee, whose father was a professional baseball player and then a Pacific Rim scout, played in Japan with Jim Tracy.
He also played over there 10 years in the Pacific League. Think about these numbers from Leon Lee. Hit 308, 268 home runs. It was an all-time home run record by a foreigner until Tuffy Rhodes beat it. Former Cub.
Ooh, how about that? Derek Lee had thrown his bat away, jogged 30 feet. Derek Lee's been around a while, so he's not trying to show anybody up, but look, he looked back at Angel Campos as if to say, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, and Derek Lee's probably one of the most soft-spoken guys that there is in the game today. He just does not do it. He's played a long, long time.
I agree with him. That's similar to the pitch that was called a strike, or not called this, or excuse me, it was called a strike on Carlos Gonzalez.
Maybe it was
in the first inning.
Automatic 3-0. Call it a strike.
Three and two. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Derek Lee is, one of the more affable guys in the game, and is pretty low key.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him show anybody up.
Here's the 3-2, and did he go?
Oh.
Bill
Welke said, I'm going to protect my partner.
Yeah.
No side angle will be able to tell. And watch the barrel of the bat, not the hands. That's a strike. He went. But that's Bill Welke, I think, protecting his partner, Angel Campos, behind the plate. So instead of making just one mistake, now to protect your partner, you've made a couple.
Derek Lee's a guy in the past you had to watch on the bases because he would steal some bases. Doesn't go too much anymore.
No, we got the injuries, getting a little bit older. He decided, I'll be all right over here at first base. Let Ramirez try to hit me in.
Good spot, 1-1 on Aramis Ramirez.
Hey, looking for the perfect place to entertain? Coors Field Suites, party facilities, and picnic areas offer a unique atmosphere designed to fit any event and, of course, any budget. Be sure to ask about the buy one, get one free offer. Call 303-312-2444 to reserve your game date today.
Ball and 2 strikes on Ramirez. Missed 2 months with a dislocated left shoulder. Went on the disabled list in early May, didn't return till early July. Dislocated diving for a Ryan Braun ground ball. 1-2. Lou Piniella seemed just a little bit ornery today in the Cubs dugout.
I'm laughing because that's a little bit of an understatement.
Yeah, I mean, Lou's a guy that, he obviously wants his team to play well, but he likes when his team's scoring runs. And his team hasn't been scoring runs. I mean, Lou was a very good offensive player in his day.
Yeah, and that's just what kind of irks him a little bit.
And that's why the lineup's juggled around. He told some of the beat reporters from the Chicago area that, said, you know what, I got my 5 top hitters by batting average and on base percentage in the first 5 in the lineup. He goes, what difference does it make how I line them up? Because guys were questioning. Yeah, he goes, that's, guys were questioning, okay, you had Terrio in the 8-hole now in the leadoff spot. That's up high. Fukudome's dropped down from 1 to 5. There he is on deck.
Well, and that was his point. He says, I got my 2 guys for on-base percentage, Fukudome, Bradley, last night go 1-2. They get on a base a few times, but the next 3 guys go 0 for 11.
Strike 3 on the swing. They didn't check it out with Reynolds on that one. Excuse me, with Welke on that one. And I thought he held up.
Well, I first of all thought it was going to be called strike anyway. Might have been off the plate just a little bit. Ramos tried to check his swing. Let's compare this one now to Derek Lee.
About the same.
About the same. Overhead shot, show the ball off the plate right onto the outside part of that batter's box for a left-handed hitter.
One out. Lee at first base. Here's Fukudome, who grounded to second. And this ball's hit well to left field. Long run for Seth Smith, and he's not going to get there. Derek Lee's going to get a green light, and he's going to score. So Fukudome with an RBI double, and the Cubs have the first run of the night.
Fastball up about belt high from Fukudome. Even though that front side comes out a little bit, it doesn't come out until after he makes contact. And that's when it starts to open up. And the ball just kept running away from Seth Smith. And then wanted to hit off that wall. Had a tough time, but Derek Lee has the ball in front of him the whole time. Doesn't have to worry about Mike Quaddy, the third base coach, waving him home because he already knows that he's going to go. 24 double now on the season for Fukudome.
Soriano ripped a line double down the left field line his first time up. That's in there for a strike. This is just the 34th career game for Soriano in the 6-hole. 25 of those times have come this year. This is going to be a tough play for Helt, and he makes it, tagging up and trying to move to third, and he will, is Fukudome. Pretty good read by Fukudome.
Oh, real good read. Tough play from Helt to try to catch it going over his shoulder.
Here's tonight's Mercedes-Benz E-Class Attention Assist of the game. There's the great catch by Quintanilla, and he runs to the bag to double up the base runner. That occurred in the second inning. It's brought to you by the Mercedes-Benz. You must experience the amazing new E-Class. 2 outs, runner at third, Giovanni Soto. And Soto takes a strike. Here's the one who lined into the double play in the second inning.
Well, this year, Soto hit 179 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position.
He was 0 for 4 with 3 punch-outs last night.
Remember when he struck out last night, turned around and looked at the umpire? We were wondering what he said. I asked him about it today. He goes, turned around, looked at the umpire, said, "That was a good pitch."
I overheard him say that to you.
I was expecting something, profound.
Yeah. I said, hey, that's no fun coming off disabled. This first guy you have to face is Baldo Jimenez. He goes, yeah, I guess, whoever you face is going to be tough in the big leagues. He said, but that guy's got nasty stuff. Here's the 1-1. And good slider. It's 1-2. But Derek Lee was, you touched on it earlier, talking about Jimenez. He said, I don't know if you can really have better stuff than he has, because once he has a little better command, he goes, I don't know how you can be better than that. He almost had a loss for words. 1-2's high, 2-2. Baldo won his 9th ball game last night. Gave up 2 runs, only 1 of which was earned. Jimenez went 6 2/3, 4 hits. Did walk 5. He struck out 6. Here's the 2-2.
Well, here's the strikeout that we were talking about, Drew. The one that goes on the inside part of the plate. Soto kind of looks back and says to the umpire, that was a good pitch.
Yeah. Three and 2 on Soto. And he did get in the bite on a slider. So now 1st and 3rd for Aaron Miles. Windshield chipped or cracked, don't wait. Call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, online at safelight.com. Wind all of a sudden has picked up here at Coors Field.
Well, flags have really started to blow hard in from left field. I don't think there was supposed to be any rain in the forecast tonight. Just getting an update, 30% chance by 9 o'clock. Thanks, Doug.
Our resident weatherman.
Yeah.
1-0 on Miles. Miles hit a soft liner to Troy Tulowitzki last inning. Cubs have a run in here in the fourth. Derek Lee on a questionable walk on a 3-2 pitch. He checked his swing. It looked like he went around, and he ends up scoring the run. Now, Marquis has the luxury, folks, right now of being very careful with Aaron Miles. I know he walked Soto on a 3-2 pitch. And you say, well, wait a second. He walks in, the bases are loaded. But Ryan Dempster's up next. And Dempster in his career has hit less than 100.
Yeah, he's hitting 079 this year, just 3 for 39 now. So, yeah, make sure that you make your pitch to Miles. And that's the other numbers that Jason Marquis has figuring in the back of his mind, too. Miles in his career has hit me pretty well. I've got to make sure that I put my pitch where I want to. If I put him on, as you mentioned, Drew, so what? Yeah, I'd like to get this guy out so I have the pitcher leading off next inning, but bottom line is if I can get out of this just giving up 1 run, that's the key.
3-1. Yeah, you look up and down this lineup, and just about every guy in the lineup, Marquis has been a teammate of. And he played for the Cubs the last 2 years, so that makes sense. Miles didn't play for the Cubs last year, but they were teammates in St. Louis.
Yeah, so you have that familiarity. You know going into a ball game, because you've played behind a guy before, you have an idea of how the ball moves even before you stand into the box.
In fact, the only guy he's never played with before is Milton Bradley. 3-1, and that's out of the zone. So, again, a veteran pitcher knows what he's doing. And Marquis, the way Dempster's pitching, figures it's going to be a low-scoring game. I'm going to go after the pitcher here and try to ensure that the only thing I give up is just that single run I've already given up here in the inning. So Dempster, who hit a little comebacker his last time, is up there.
And 2 things now, with the wind blowing in and the pitcher, the outfielders have moved way in now. Brad Hopp in right field's moved in about 5 or 7 steps. Carlos Gonzalez is very, very shallow in center field and shading over into the right center field gap. Seth Smith's taking his place over in the left center, almost more towards center field.
And that misses. Now that's not by design. Now it's 2-0.
Well, the one area that Jason Marquis has been pretty special this year is with the bases loaded. 0 for 10 so far against Jason.
He's had to throw 30 pitches this inning.
Well, that was a smart play from Ryan Dempster, whether it came from Lou Piniella or Ryan just said, hey, you know what?
If he swung at that 2-0 pitch,
Lou might have run his neck.
Lou would have run out and tackled him. Three balls and a strike on Dempster, who will not be swinging here either.
Not at all. A lot of times what you'll see too is guys get a little bit closer to the plate, try to create a different look for the pitcher.
Ball 4. Marquis looking in, puts his arms out. The Angel Campos saying, where's that?
Well, so far, I don't know if that was a strike, but you've seen a lot of barking between both sides tonight with Angel Campos in this strike zone. And when you have not been around the plate the last half inning or so, you're not going to get that call.
2-0 Chicago, and now you have to deal with the legitimate hitter in Ryan Theriot.
Bob Apodaca is really making sure now that he stays focused.
That's a real dangerous part of this game already. Cubs have 2 across, a base hit. Now you're behind a 4 spot. And that's not in the strike zone. This is very uncharacteristic. Now, the only one that's uncharacteristic was the walk to Dempster, obviously. The first 2 he pitched carefully to.
Yep. But already this inning, 4 walks.
But maybe you get out of your rhythm.
You really do, because you start to pitch too carefully.
In the air to center field, Gonzalez had to reach up as the wind got a hold of that one. 2 runs for the Cubs in the 4th inning. Two to nothing Cubs. 23-year-old Carlos Gonzalez will lead things off for the Rockies. His manager when he was at AAA is now the Rockies bench coach, Tom Reynolds.
This is what we've all been waiting for with him. You know, understanding that he's still a young man and kind of getting his feet wet here at the major league level, but we're seeing some signs now of what truly I think is going to be a special player.
But Huey, he's got unique talent. And he's come on of late. In August, hitting .545, the average up to .265 starting today. He struck out looking on a questionable strike 3 his first time up, and he takes strike 1 there.
Well, think about this. This is only his 128th major league ball game, so he hasn't even played a full, complete season at the major league level. He's still learning. But what we're seeing from him now is what we did not see back in late June, early July, is his pitch selection.
No question.
Yeah, I mean, that just makes a huge difference. Before, he was swinging at the balls, taking the strikes.
This ball hooked down the line, foul. Bill Welke got the head around just in time to see it foul. Carlos Gonzalez has been a great story of late. Alana Rizzo has more.
Yeah, Drew, thanks very much. Just to add to what you guys were talking about earlier with Cargo, I talked to him today about what's been working for him more offensively in the recent weeks. He said, I've really been able to find the balance between being patient at the plate and having that aggression at the plate. I said, is it difficult to find that balance? He said, it hasn't been until recently. He said, I've really been able to figure that balance out, figure out a way. And he goes, now I just wait for the perfect pitch to hit. I don't try to do too much. And also, TR was telling me, too, he said, you know, he tries to do so much because he's a young kid and he wants to prove himself. He said just the way that he's playing at the plate, he is proving himself, guys.
All right, Alana, TR, of course, Tom Runnels. And this is a shattered bat, a bloop to left center field. It's going to drop. Now Gonzalez with the great speed. Took the wide turn and held up. I'll tell you what, he is such a joy to watch run the bases, similar to Derek, to Fowler, because they will take the extra base if there's one little bobble or if you go after the baseball half-heartedly in the outfield. See Dexter do it, we see Carlos do it.
Yeah, and this was a broken bat. Just one, he was strong enough to hit it over the head of Ryan Theriot and drop it in front of the outfielders. And what the Cubs do here, they play their outfield very, very deep. And with limited speed, they have to do that to try to cut off the balls in the gaps.
Fukudome is more of a corner outfielder. Soriano still doesn't look comfortable as an outfielder. And then Milton Bradley is in right field. So they do play deep. Helton at the plate with a 1-0 count. And this is a bullet, but it's right at Theriot who bobbles it. And everybody's safe. That was tailor-made for two. Theriot was positioned perfectly.
Well, he was. They were shifted for Todd Helton to play up the middle just a little bit. Theriot was in the good position. This ball was hit hard, but a play that has to be made at the big league level. Now, right off the grass, easy one hopper, and instead of staying with it and making sure you catch it before you make the flip, he just didn't get down quite far enough to get that ball.
2 on and nobody out. The Rockies trailing 2-0. There's the Hyundai Cam look at it. It's in the glove. It's out of the glove.
A great shot from the Hyundai Cam, but that's a ball that has to be made for a double play. Take advantage of it.
Tulo thought about the drag bunt. You noticed Ramirez back way beyond third base naturally. And we've seen Tulo do that before.
Well, it's a smart play. You're down by a couple runs. If you get a pitch that you think you can drop down there, go ahead. And in worst case, you got second and third with Brad Hopp, left-handed hitter, coming up.
This is at the third baseman, Ramirez. He kicks it. Everybody's safe. All of a sudden, you got to put a tent over the Chicago Cubs infield. They become a circus. Normally, Ramirez very sure-handed.
Yeah, 4th error of the season for Ramirez now. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than this little one-hopper, but much like what Theriot did, he tried to go to the bag before he caught it. He was thinking, okay, I'm going to get the ball, step on third, and worry about my footwork. And instead of catching it, now all of a sudden you've opened up a whole can of worms because you've got the bases loaded, nobody out, just on 2 plays it should have been made.
And this ball ripped to left field for a base hit. 1 run will score. Helton stops at third. Brad Hopp with his 66th RBI, which leads the club. It's 2-1, and the base is still loaded with nobody out.
Well, we talked about being patiently aggressive. Be aggressive into the zone, and that was just a flat slider, or a flat sinker, excuse me, that stayed up in the zone. Brad stays with it, stays on it. It's right in front of Soriano, and the best Todd could do is get to third, but now you just keep that engine going. You keep that train going and get another base hit, score some more runs.
And Stewart had a healthy hack there. Yeah, just take advantage of it. You had 2 balls that should have been turned into double plays that were not handled. Now, Helton was scored a hit. Good for Todd. Todd will tell you, I hit it hard, but probably should have been a double play.
Yeah.
Helton now has a 13-game hitting streak. Obviously, it was an error on Ramirez. And Stewart got a little big there. It's 0-2.
Not real big. Try to, instead of staying in the big part of the field, he was going for that grand salami. So now you put yourself in a dangerous situation because now the split finger comes back into play. But you also have to have a lot of confidence in your catcher, Giovanni Soto, that he's going to be there to block it.
This is where we always talk about, productive outs. Runners in scoring position. Get it in play somehow, some way, and you're going to tie up this game. Much more controlled swing.
I think control's the right word to use. It was not that wild, get onto my heels, try to drop that back shoulder, back leg it to hit the home run.
And that is on deck.
You know, ideally, you want the sac fly to center field or right fielder so even Troy can move up to third if it's deep enough. Get another guy in the scoring position.
This ball pulled to first. Lee handles it, goes to second. Nobody covered. First, Dempster fell asleep. Helt scores. It's tied at 2, and that's a big break for the Rockies. I don't know if they would have been able to turn it, but when Dempster forgot to cover, they had no shot.
Well, you don't know whether you'd been able to turn it. As a shortstop, you get the nice feed from Derek Lee. Yeah, you get the RBI from Ian Stewart now, and you move up too low over to third base. This will give us a great look at this ball once it's hit. Dempster gets caught watching. He's flat-footed. Well, Derek Lee makes the throw. Ryan Theriot, nothing he can do is come off. One more look at it. Once Theriot gets the ball, look at that lane right there. Whoops, nobody there. Boy, what an inning for the Cubs. I mean, they've completely just kind of fallen asleep this inning, and now it's a 2-2 ball game.
You know, he came in 14th out of 16 teams in fielding percentage, and that's down low to Iannetta. 16 teams in the National League. See how Lou Piniella put that hat back on his head. He is irritated, as you would be if you were managing the Cubs right now.
Yeah, if you could see some smoke, you'd see it coming out of those ears.
1-0 on Iannetta. And this got away for a moment. Throw to second is wild. And now Stewart stop and will dive back in. And all the Rocky fans standing and applauding. It is a wild pitch, nearly a wild throw by Soto to second.
Well, it was the right read for Ian Stewart to begin with. The unfortunate thing is once it kicked off of Soto, it went over and hit Chris Iannetta. So it dropped back down, went up and hit Chris and dropped right there. Well, with that throw kind of sailing at the last second, Ian Stewart said, you know what, I'm going to get stuck. But here it is hitting Chris. Right into that hip area, drops right back down. But now you got second and third, you got to bring the infield in.
Takes a double play out of order. 3-0, Omar Quintanilla is on deck.
We've seen just about everything go wrong this inning for the Cubs, but the Rockies are taking advantage of it, and that's what you have to do. The big league level, if they're going to give you extra out, extra runs, take it.
If you were doing an infield video, they'd say, stop the tape, take 2. This ball pounded to short. And a 3-0 pitch. Iannetta swinging away, and that's 2 outs. And Chris going to be upset because swinging 3-0. Cubs fan not pleased, but swinging 3-0, you want a pitch you can drive and definitely get to the outfield. The last thing Chris wanted to do, obviously, was get on top of that baseball.
Well, right now they're going to go ahead and pitch to Omar, and I think a lot of that has to do with Jason Marquis on deck. If you had somebody else in this situation, a pitcher there that is not a good hitter, might pass.
Yeah, this ball line to left field. They're going to pay for it. Here comes Stewart. He'll score. 2-run single for Omar Quintanilla. And the Rockies have a 4-2 lead. How about Quintanilla? Less than 40 at-bats this year, though he's been on the roster since day 1. He gets back-to-back starts. First time he's been out there since the 3rd week of May. He's 2 for 2, 2 RBIs tonight.
And jumps on that first fastball, belt high, Hyundai Cam. It doesn't get any easier than this, folks. He stayed on it, drives it to left center field. One more look at Omar here. The way he just stays patiently aggressive into that zone. His last RBI was back on August 24th of last year.
How about that? I mean, he's got 2 RBIs now, his first 2 of the year. The pitcher, Jason Marquis, who starts every 5th day, he has 8 RBIs, folks. I can't tell you how happy Jim Tracy is for Omar Quintanilla, because Jim Tracy had a lot of pop. He got to the big leagues, didn't hang around long. He was in a Cubs uniform.
Yep.
And he appreciates, as much as any manager in baseball, that 25th guy.
Oh, he does. And he has been Omar's biggest supporter. He's been the guy that stuck with him this whole time.
Boy, Dempster a little angry, and you can understand it. He fired a dart to Derek Lee. A horrible inning defensively for the Cubs. To the Rockies' credit, they take advantage. Yankees beat Boston again. It took them a lot less innings tonight to shut out the Red Sox. Last night, A-Rod hit a walk-off home run in the 15th inning to break a scoreless tie. How many times has a player hit a walk-off home run in a scoreless tie in the 15th inning or later? That's our Affleck trivia question. The Yankees going into that series 0-8 against Boston this year. They blew them out in game 1. A-Rod hit the 2-run walk-off last night in the 15th. Well, they played 5+ hours last night.
I know it was after midnight Eastern time. There were a lot of spectacular plays in that ball game, watching the highlights of that.
A.J. Burnett was almost unhittable. 1 hit through 7+. 0-1 on Milton Bradley. Milton takes the ball. Bradley a double and fly ball to center field. And it's on the ground to help, and Todd will run over to the bag. That'll bring up Derek Lee.
We were talking about Derek Lee's dad, Leon, a few moments ago. He was the first black manager in Japan.
Really?
Yep. 2003, the Oryx Blue Wave he managed.
Rumors will start again in the fall. They've actually already started with Bobby Valentine move into one of the vacant. You know, there's always a couple vacancies in the offseason, and into one of the vacancies back in the big leagues as a manager. He has a cult following in Chiba.
Oh, he does. And
this ball's driven high and deep right center field, and this one is gone. So Derek Lee continues his mastery of Jason Marquis. He makes it a 1-run game. His 23rd of the year, his 5th career home run against Marquis.
An 11th RBI now, too. And that's the kind of power that Derek Lee possesses. It's not just pull power. A lot of his power is the other way, where you try to work him away, and he gets that big 6'6" frame, gets it all generated going into the same direction. Able to hit that out pretty easily.
Strike 1 on Ramirez. Here's the home run again.
I mean, that takes a lot of strength to drive the ball out there above that auxiliary scoreboard.
Two-strike count on Ramirez, who has struck out twice tonight against Marquis. Only 2 strikeouts for Jason. Ontario 1 for 6. Bradley hasn't done much in his career. Lee and Ramirez, the 2 tough outs. Soriano's had his moments, as has Aaron Miles.
Well, that's why it's so key to keep the guys like Terrio, like Bradley, off the bases before Lee comes up there. So if he does hit a home run, it's a solo shot.
Well, both teams with 5 hits. 4 of the 5 hits for Chicago are extra base hits. 1-2, now 2-2. Cubs came into the game 11th in runs scored in the National League. The Rockies 3rd. Again, a year ago, the Cubs led the National League in runs. Here's the 2-2, and it's punched towards second. Quintanilla, outfield grass, spinning, and he got his man. Have a night, Omar Quintanilla.
Man, oh man, he had to range far to his left to get this baseball too. He was positioned himself up the middle just a little bit more with Ramirez. You see, I mean, that's a dead pull right-handed hitter's stance where he was at. It was far to his left, spin throw, get him by a half step.
I'm reminded of what Jim Tracy said about Quintanilla last night. We ran the soundbite. He said he is a professional ball catcher.
And that's what he is.
Ball 1 on Fukudome.
But that's just from diligence, doing your work every single day, not taking a day off when you're not playing.
Here's the 81st pitch, and it's a ball. 2-0. Fukudome lined a double in the 4th inning to left field and scored Derek Lee. Lou Piniella going on and on about trying to find somebody to put his feet down in the 5-hole where Fukudome is hitting tonight and drive in some runs.
Well, the other thing too is you get that left-handed bat because you've got Derek Lee, you've got Aramis Ramirez, and you get the lefty, and then you go back to Soriano and Soto.
Alan Trammell sitting next to Lou Piniella. Trammell, a guy you competed against.
Yeah.
One of the great shortstops of his era.
Should be in the Hall.
He's got numbers that would support that.
Got a little bit of a break there. Fukudome kind of flying out and that bat staying in the zone. That was a ball that was up, and that's why he just asked Angel Campos if that ball was up. That wouldn't have been a strike, right? No, it wouldn't have been.
Another check swing, and it's ball 4. So that's 5 walks allowed by Marquis, and that'll bring up Soriano. Once again, our Aflac trivia question. Last night, A-Rod hit a walk-off 2-run home run in the 15th to break up a scoreless tie. How many times does a player hit a walk-off home run in a scoreless tie in the 15th inning or later? Not many, I'm sure. 5 times. Willie Mays did it. There's a strike.
I'm just looking back over the notes. With 5 walks now tonight in this ball game, Jason Marquis had 5 walks in the whole month of July in his 5 starts, or excuse me, 4 starts.
This ball in the air, left center field. Gonzalez and Smith, and it'll be Smith. In the inning, Derek Lee with his 23rd home run tightens things up. 4-3 Rockies, middle of 5. off here in the bottom of the 5th, and that pitch is inside from Ryan Dempster, who was quite perturbed at the end of the 4th inning. He faced 8 batters in the 4th, gave up 4 runs, only 1 of which was earned.
I think the hardest pitch he threw all inning was a comebacker that he threw then over to first base in Derek Lee.
Yeah, he's been working 89 to 92, and he threw 98-mile-an-hour heater at Derek Lee. And something happened to Aramis Ramirez because Jake Fox is in at 3rd. He hurt himself running up the line. I wonder if he pulled a muscle trying to leg out that ground ball when Omar Quintanilla made the special play.
Maybe the lunge for it. Last pitch on the Hyundai Cam. Turns on it right on that instep. Man, oh man, that just feels like somebody's taken a hammer and punched you right onto that foot.
There's Aramis Ramirez.
Well, if he was hurting a lot, you seem like you think he'd be back in the clubhouse trying to get some treatment.
1-2, hooked into right field, base hit for Seth Smith. So the Rockies in a 4-3 affair have the leadoff man on, and Carlos Gonzalez stepping up. I really enjoy watching Seth Smith swing the bat. Huey, from a technical standpoint, he really gets from point A to point B quickly.
Yeah, and the other thing is that bat stays in the zone a long time. And those two things coupled together, that's why he's a 300 hitter. Because it is so much fun. There's not a lot of extra movement that's going on. So it does get there very, very simply, and then a long swing through.
Well, this double play ball, there's one, and Terrio will turn it over. So Gonzalez grounds into the 4-6-3. Two outs, nobody on. Helton will come up. Todd now with a 13-game hitting streak. He was awarded a hit in his last at bat.
Fans, don't forget the next Dollar Hot Dog Night is Tuesday, August 11th against the Pittsburgh Pirates. The first 10,000 fans through the gates will receive a coupon for a Dollar Hot Dog courtesy of Hebrew National. Get your tickets at all the usual Rockies outlets.
A 13-game hitting streak, the best by a Rocky this year. Helton is tied with Hop coming in. Brad had a 12-game hitting streak earlier. 3-0.
That's just because he's so consistent. No matter if he's at home, on the road, his home average 323, on the road 311. During the day, 322, at night 314. I mean, you get the picture. It adds up to a 327 career average.
3-0's in there, 3-1. Pitch count on Ryan Dempster is 71 as he works here with 2 outs in the 5th inning.
Take a look at the pitches by inning for Ryan Dempster. Pretty economical early on, but then that 23, well, that was back when the Rockies scored their 4 runs and only the 1 was earned, as you mentioned, Drew. He could have been out of there throwing somewhere in the neighborhood of 10, 12, 14 pitches.
Yep. Jim Tracy said it a bunch lately when people asked about the offense. He said what wins this time of year is pitching and defense. Ground ball up the middle, and there's a base hit for Helton, his 2nd of the night. And that will allow Tulowitzki to hit here in the 5th inning. Well, it's a good idea to run your dishwasher when it's full. This maximizes energy use. Learn more energy tips at responsiblebynature.com. And here's our Excel Energy fun fact. On this date, 1988, the first ever night game was played at Wrigley Field. Almost. The game, you see, was rained out after 3.5 innings, so the first official night game actually took place the following night.
Remember the build-up for that?
Oh, it's huge.
Oh, my goodness.
Tulowitzki is 0 for 2. He reached on that error by Ramirez last inning. I want to point something out really quickly. Remember our Affleck trivia question, we're talking about A-Rod's 2-run home run, breaking up a 0-0 tie. It's only happened 4 other times. One of the times Willie Mays. That was the ball game. In the 16th inning, Koufax and Marichal still out there. 16th inning. And oh, by the way, they've thrown shutout baseball. Gosh knows what the pitch count was.
Well, they didn't have the clicker then. They said that
no.
When you started the game, you finished the game.
That's right. Those guys are pretty good. 2 Hall of Famers. So Mays in the 16th got a fatigued Sandy Koufax, I guess.
Fatigued after 16 innings or going into the 16th?
Yeah.
Sure.
What a classic that was.
Can you imagine buying a ticket for that game? Going in and saying, hey, got Marichal Koufax.
If you had the ticket to that ball game, you have a story to tell. 2-0. That's a strike. 2-1.
I guarantee you there weren't too many hitters going to the ballpark that day going, oh, this is going to be fun today.
Yeah. See if I can get 3 or 4 knocks tonight. And Tulowitzki hits it on the ground to short. And the Rockies are done in their half of the 5th inning. We'll turn the page to inning number 6. The Rockies leading the Cubs 4-3. Plan, buy any new Hyundai and get a whole year's worth of gas for $1.49 per gallon. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Dex, take the sport out of finding local information with Dex in print and online at dexknows.com. And by Burt Mazda, lease a new Mazda 3 at Burt Mazda for only $159 a month. Plus, Burt Mazda will make your first payment. Bottom of the order here in the 6th, Giovanni Soto takes the first 2 out of the zone. It's been a fairly consistent theme tonight. Jason Marquis has battled sinker command. Though of his 5 walks, I would say 2 are somewhat intentional.
Yeah, you look at Derek Lee and then also Aaron Miles into that 4th inning. Those are the 2. But then, unfortunately, you followed up and walking the pitcher behind Miles.
That's a strike. Actually, I was really talking about Soto. You know, 3-2, he wasn't going to give in with a runner at third base. Lee was leading off the inning. Lee obviously owns Jason Marquis. There's always 1 or 2 of those guys in the league. Here's the 2-2. And that's a good-looking pitch. Strike 3. So Soto is gone, and the all-important first hitter is retired by Marquis.
Oh, when he needed to make a pitch right in the bottom part of the zone with the little sink on it, he's able to get it for his 3rd strikeout tonight. One more look. Can we watch where it crosses? Right at the knees. I mean, I'm not sure what Giovanni thought, that that ball was down.
Aaron Miles hits it to center field, and this one is going to elude Carlos Gonzalez. It's going to roll all the way to the wall, and Miles is going to have a triple. That thing got caught up, I think, in the wind, because Carlos, when he went after it, all of a sudden had to make a left turn.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be able to get to it at first and at least cut it off and hold him to a single. Miles right on the screws with another ball that was elevated. And Carlos playing a little bit more over into the left center field gap, and that ball just chased him and kept going. Now, right before Ryan Dempster went up to the plate here, Lou Piniella called him back. And I'm sure he was telling him, hey, make sure you pay attention to the signs. Well, maybe I might throw a squeeze on just so you know what all the signs are, because now you're going to play the infield at the halfway depth if you're the Rockies.
Dempster a year ago led the National League in sack bunts. May not be much of a hitter, but he typically can get a bunt down. Now, it's a risky proposition.
It really is. I'll give you that. But at the same time, when you're ahead in the count 1-0, if you're going to do it, this might be the pitch that you might see the squeeze on.
Mike Quaddy went over and whispered something in Miles' ear.
Or a safety squeeze.
That's a strike. 1-1. Quaddy, I'm just watching him. He's looking in at the dugout. Now he flashes signs. He walks down the line at Ryan Dempster. Miles is staring at him. The entire Rockies infield staring at them. West high-speed pitch. Dempster 93. Marquis 93. It's brought to you by Quest high-speed internet.
Now you don't have to worry about that bunt now with a 1-2 count. And Mike Quaddy's going over there, Aaron Miles, saying, okay, this is what you're going to do. If it's hit hard, stay here. If it's a chopper and you get a good read, go ahead and take off.
Oh, that's a great block. Not a good block, a great block.
That's just a slider, 85 miles an hour that landed about 50 feet. It didn't even hardly go 50, 52 feet. The Hyundai camp, Chris is getting over there and blocking it. And it's just fortunate that ball went into his glove. He was just trying to knock it down somehow, some way, and he was able to stop it.
There's the good slider and the strikeout for the second out of Ryan Dempster. So it'll come down to a matchup of Marquis and his former teammate Ryan Theriot. The tying run less than 90 feet away. The next pitch will be number 100.
And just the way Jason's had to battle tonight. Look, you got to get out of this inning. It'll be his last inning, I think.
This is looped to shallow right. It's going to drop. Ryan Theriot ties it up with a bloop single to right. And it's a 4-4 ball game. Good pitch, bad result.
But it was a bad result because it was up. It's the easiest ball to try to bloop in. When that ball's left up in the zone, you just pull your hands in, and that allows the barrel to stay through the zone a long time. And very rarely, if the ball's down, yeah, you might see the seeing eye ground ball, but the bloopers are usually when the ball's elevated. Watch Theriot might take off again.
He did. Rockies pitch out. Ionetta's throws on the bag and safe.
Dropped the ball.
Dropped the ball.
I think that'll go down as a stolen base because the umpire out at second base, Jimmy Reynolds, never signaled out before he signaled safe. The right call from Tommy Reynolds, who makes these calls. Pitch out, the throw from Troy. One look from the Hyundai cam. The ball goes right into his glove, but when he reaches back to try to tag him, That's when it comes out. Well, it wasn't secured all the way in there.
This ball's hit well to right. It's off the top of the wall, and now the Cubs have the lead. Throw to second, and Milton Bradley's out. The run did score. 5-4 Chicago as Bradley drives in Terrio, and that stolen base turns out to be enormous, because Terrio would not have scored from first base on that.
No, he wouldn't have. That's where the drop comes in, and then Milton Bradley hits it hard, but give credit to Ryan Terrio for running hard all the way through the bag. Rockies trail. It by an eyelash from the tag out at second base. Angel Campos right on top of the play. You got to give a lot of credit to him being right there in position.
I did not realize how close that was until we ran that replay. That was extremely close.
It was a lot closer than, and what allowed that to happen a little bit, Milton Bradley sliding out and around, buying Ryan Terrio an extra half step, extra half second to get to home.
Brad Hopp, an RBI single and a strikeout. Ryan Dempster still out there. Yolis Chacin is throwing in the Rockies bullpen. Rockies down 5-4. They had a 4-2 lead. Marquis gave up 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th on the home run by Derek Lee, and then 2 last inning. There's Chacin.
There's 2 with 2 outs too. Those are the backbreakers.
Three and 2. Dempster, despite the disastrous inning behind him in the 4th, has only thrown 82 pitches as he works here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
He's been able to command 3 different pitches.
And a base hit for Brad Hopp. He's got a 2-hit night. The Rockies have the tying run aboard. Ian Stewart will be next. Rockies had 13 hits last night. That was their 7th this evening.
Well, when they leave it up and they hang it, this is what you're supposed to do it at the big league level. Hanging split finger acts a lot like just a BP fastball when it comes in there. That allowed Brad Hopp to go out and hook it into right field.
And Brad Hopp, when leading off an inning this year, hitting .375. He has non-base percentage of around .450.
Okay, Ian, be patient. They're looking for you to roll over on the ball.
Stewart an RBI ground out last time after falling behind. The Giants won earlier against Cincinnati, so they're a half game up in the division and the wild card. Rockies with 15 consecutive wins against the National League Central.
We talked about that last night. A lot of them out on the road, some here at home.
Not surprisingly, the Cubs have played well inside their own division. (32-23). This ball's fouled off.
You always talk about having to take care of business within your own division, and that's what the Cubs have done. Jim Tracy's got his thinking cap on right now. You had CHN up tossing earlier with pitcher spots just a couple doors down.
And Stewart strikes out for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Iannetta. Well, the Phillies are 15-6 against the Central. Then the Rockies. Surprisingly, the Cardinals, where are they? They're not on the list.
It is a little surprising the Cardinals aren't there.
Pitch out, 1-0 on Iannetta. But statistically, with Chris Iannetta this year, 25% of his hits have been home runs.
That was an amazing number when I saw that. I knew it was going to be high, but I didn't think it'd be 1 out of every 4.
Ball and a strike. Well, Jason Marquis frustrated. He had a lead. Unable to hold it last inning.
Angel Guzman has gotten up and started tossing for the Chicago Cubs out there in their bullpen. There's Angel. Bullpen coach Lester Strode.
1-2 on Chris Iannetta, who last year hit .264 and 333 at bats, including 18 home runs. Drove in 65, and this is top to short. There's one to Miles, and Iannetta will switch places with Brad Hopp. That'll bring up one of the hitting stars tonight for the Rockies, Omar Quintanilla, 2 for 2 and 2 RBIs, a 2-run single in the 4th.
Let's see if they try to pitch Omar any differently. Try to come inside a little bit more. Ryan Spilborg just grabbed his bat, put it on his batting gloves, and a little bit of new facial hair.
Atkins near the bat rack as well. They're setting up away again, but the ball went in. And Derek Lee will step on the bag. Rockies had a hit, the man left. Nothing else across the 6th. We'll go to the 7th. 5-4 Chicago. Quintanilla to take a base hit from Aramis Ramirez. Tremendous play by Quintanilla. That was a Frostbrewed Coors Light freeze cam. Well, Omar's now out of the ball game. Jim Tracy has utilized a double switch with Jason Marquis coming out. Clint Barmas will come in. He'll lead off next inning in the 9 hole. And the new pitcher is Yolis Chassin. He's been very good since being called up from Tulsa. This pitching change is brought to you by Comcast. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 800 Comcast.
Fourth appearance now for Chassin. 3 innings pitched. And his job right now is to make sure that this ball game stays exactly where it's at. 5-4 to give your offense a chance to rally for your ball club.
Now the pen's been very good. 13 2/3 scoreless innings of late. Here's the 1-0 on Derek Lee.
And the one advantage that Chassin has right now is that the Cubs have never seen him before. So they don't know how that fastball is going to move. They don't know about the slide, all the off-speed pitches, whatever it is. They're just going to have to go by sight when they're in the box.
Derek Lee got the Cubs within a run in his last at bat. It was 4-2, and then he hit one over the scoreboard in right to make it 4-3. Then the Cubs with 2 outs would rally for 2 in the 6th. Jason Marquis has the hook right now. Here's the 1-2. Strike 3. Change up, and that fooled Derek Lee. That's a big first out.
Well, that goes back to my point where the pitcher has the advantage right now. You don't know where it's going, what type of pitch it is. Right out of the hand, we'll get a good look on that circle change from the Hyundai cam, where he just turns that wrist over and just really pulls down to get the downward action on it. Lee just completely frozen. From the side, you can see those hips start to slide forward just a little bit. And he just couldn't pull the trigger. First look at, or second look, excuse me, at Jake Fox. I saw him last night as a pinch hitter.
He's a powerful kid.
Yeah, in the 9th inning.
Got my scouting report on Jake Fox from none other than Jeff Baker. Said he can hit.
Oh, he can. That's why he was a high draft pick of the Cubs a while back.
Here's the 0-2. Oh, that was nasty. That slider was dirty. 2 punch outs in the 7th for Chassin.
And this was the harder slider that he likes to throw too. That one he really pulled down, got over onto that front side, and that had that downward action, really hard late tilt to it.
Here's Fukudome with 2 outs and nobody on. And Fukudome hits it a long way to right, and it is gone. We got a fastball up, and Fukudome makes it 6-4 Chicago.
Well, we saw what happened on the first couple strikeouts there. So I'm not going to wait around. I'm going to see the first fastball that I see, I'm going to go ahead and turn on and jump on.
Now this was really up.
Well, and he missed his location bad. Hyundai cam, it doesn't get any better than that for a hitter right at the belt, the full extension.
Fukudome, I guarantee, will be hitting 5th tomorrow. Lou was looking for somebody who could hit in the 5-hole. He's driven in a couple of runs tonight.
There's no doubt about that one.
There's Soriano with a 1-strike count. He waves at that one. It's an 0-2 count now.
Well, go ahead and throw him another one. Don't mess around. Throw the same pitch, same location, see if he bites. We'll try to elevate the fastball instead. He got it.
And he struck out the side. He gave up a home run, though, to Fukudome. 6-4 Chicago, stretch time.
A little help when you haven't seen a guy. That's what Fukudomi did for Derek Lee. Last inning, Derek Lee saying, okay, that split goes straight down. Fukudomi said, okay, I'm not going to wait for that. I'm going to sit on that first fastball. And that's what he did, hit the fastball out.
Clint Barmes with a 1-1 count. And Barmes leans on one to left center field. Did he get it? You bet it. The sloping Clint Barmes off the bench and into the scorebook. A solo home run for Barmes to make it 6-5. How good that must feel for number 12.
Yeah, it does feel nice. A fastball, another pitch at this location from Clint Barmes. From the side, what Clint's been working on is getting these hands back to that position before he starts to go forward, and that's exactly what he did on that swing. He and Don Baylor have been working so hard in the cage to get those hands to disappear for a little bit, and the Hyundai cam will show that. And then the extension right through the baseball all the way and hit it out into left field. Boy, that was just pretty to see, because I know Clint Barmes has been really hard on himself. Right? He understands what kind of slump he's been in. He understands what people have been saying, but he went out there and he worked and he worked and he worked, and he goes up there and gets a home run.
You know what he has to understand, as every hitter does, and you know he does understand this, the fact that he's the same guy that hit 290 last year, the same guy that was hitting about 295 a few weeks ago.
And the guy got his 15 home runs now.
You bet. Big moment for Barmes, 1-run game. At garages, call 1-800-BUY-TOUGH or visit them online at toughshed.com. 6-5 affair at a rocking Coors Field on another pretty mile-high night. Rockies were down 2-0, took a 4-2 lead. Cubs came back to move in front 6-4. Barmes with a home run a moment ago to make it 6-5. And here's Seth Smith to face Angel Guzman, making his 43rd appearance.
A former #1 rated prospect for the Cubs for a number of years. Career derailed just a little bit because of arm problems. But I look at this ball game right now because of Sean Marshall having to start last night. They only have one left-hander in the pen, and that's Grabo. And now you think about that. Lou Piniella has to save him just a little bit. Maybe have to save him to the 8th inning, because you got 3 lefties in a row. If you have two left-handers out in the pen, now might be the perfect time to bring one in. But you can't do that because of having to use Sean Marshall last night in Zambrano's spot.
Yep. And the swing pitch, the 1-1 pitch, is inside, ball 2, so it's 2-1. As Graybo looks on. 2-1 on Seth Smith. 1 for 3 tonight for Smith. A line single to right 2 innings ago. 3-1.
Guzzi has a good, strong fastball. You can get it anywhere from 93, 96 miles an hour. And also throw a very, very hard late slider.
He's typically a strike thrower. The league hitting just 206 against him. This is an easy play for Terrio. I like it. Ryan's raising his hand as if anybody else was within 30 yards of him.
It doesn't matter. It's just something you're taught, and you just part of your habit, part of your routine, and that's what Terrio did there. Yeah, he is the only guy around, but still, that's a good habit to be in.
1 out. That'll bring up Carlos Gonzalez. One for 3 tonight. Rockies would love to get his speed aboard.
A couple guys that have faced each other in winter ball, though. Carlos Gonzalez from Venezuela, Angel Guzman from Venezuela as well.
You're looking at the outfield alignment. We were talking earlier how typically the Cubs play deep. Soriano has moved in a little bit, and Fukudome has really moved in.
I don't understand that.
3-0. I mean, Fukudome is not a guy that goes back like the great center fielders in the game. He's more of a corner outfielder.
Well, he's also playing about the depth that you would see somebody playing for a pitcher hitting.
That's a strike. And I don't know if that's because of the wind. It may be. You know, looking at the flags, the wind looks like it's howling in from right center field.
Yeah, but if it gets into the gap, it's going to be an automatic triple because they're going to have to chase it down.
Good point. That's in there, 3-2. Rockies have Betancourt up in case they can even this thing up or take the lead. Another fastball at 97.
Well, the last two have been at 97 now for Guzman.
If your windshield is damaged, don't wait. Call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safelite Auto Glass, at 303-287-5000 or visit safelite.com. And another broken back base hit for Gonzalez. Just stayed with it. And the Rockies, with 1 out, have a guy who has not been thrown out all year at first base.
The approach from Carlos Gonzalez has just been so solid. He's able to stay in through the ball and the head down from the Hyundai cam. That just shows you what type of strength it takes to get it over the head of the infielder in front of the outfielder. But that's when you're doing everything mechanically correct. Even if you don't get the barrel there, your hands are still in the perfect position.
Hilton at the plate. He's got 2 knocks tonight. And Gonzalez is stepping a dive back. 8 for 8, swiping bases.
And Guzman, early in his career, was one of those guys, a little bit higher leg kick. Easy to run on, and really been working hard, trying to cut it down. Go more of that slide step if he can do it.
He had a pretty significant leg kick there. It's 0-1.
Well, it was 1.46 to the plate. I mean, that's what you're looking at. And as a base runner on that type of leg kick, you don't need a stopwatch. You've got that stopwatch in your head saying, I can get it if I decide I want to go. Now, it just doesn't matter if Cargo goes. Does he want to leave the hole open for Todd Helton to hit over to the right side? Or try to steal the base and get into scoring position.
I think and again, it's tough to run on no one pitch, but in my mind, I mean, Helton used the entire diamond. He's not a pull hitter.
Well, and the other thing too, so what if something happens, he swings and misses, get an 0-2? That doesn't matter to Todd Helton.
I think Guzman, he was like a lot of guys that have a great arm. They're not big on slide stepping because they figure their giddy up will make up for any sort of slowness to the plate. Not going, back up the middle, and what a play there. And the double play not turned. That is the play that was not handled by Terrio earlier in the ballgame. This time, he's able to take a hit from Helton and get the force at second base on Gonzalez.
Man, this play was a more difficult play than the one he had earlier. Because that one hit twice. The one earlier only hit one time. And now it really did almost a behind-the-back flip to Aaron Miles over at second base. He gets it, flips it with barely looking over there. Miles gets it, goes across the bag, does not have any sort of footwork that allows him to get a strong throw off and get help on the double play.
But Troy Tulowitzki steps up 0 for 3 tonight. He did reach on an error and score a run back in the fourth. Tulowitzki leading the club in home runs with 20.
Well, the problem for the Rockies, though, now is you've really traded a guy in Carlos Gonzalez with great speed who could score the ball into the gap to the Todd, who does not run like he did early in his career.
Pretty good first baseman chatting it up right now. Derek Lee and Todd Helton. One and one. Tulowitzki hit 5 home runs the first 2 months of the season. He has 15 in the last 2 months. 4th most in the big leagues since June 8th.
All day long in batting practice, he was trying to hit it from right center field to left center field. Did not pull anything at all during BP.
And he drives it toward right. Bradley going back, and it is caught.
How did he catch that?
I don't know. But if that kicks off the wall, it will kick away from Bradley, obviously, and it would have given Helton a great chance to score and tie up this game. In the inning, Clint Barmes, who was in an 0 for 22 slide, hits one out to make it a 6-5 ball game. All of a sudden, the Cubs, who had played horrendous defense in the fourth inning, two sparkling plays in that inning. One by Ryan Theriot to take a hit from Todd Helton, and then that play by Milton Bradley to preserve the one-run lead for the Cubs. Chacin, second inning of work. 0-1 pitch to Giovanni Soto is down. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Milton Bradley just timed his leap perfectly on that ball. I thought it was over the head of Milton and going to go to the wall.
Carlos Marmol, the 8th inning man for the Cubs, doing his thing in the bullpen.
How about the guts from that young man to shake off a couple fastballs from Chris Iannetta? I don't want to go to the slider either. I want to go to the changeup. You're sitting there as a hitter in the fastball count 2-1. A young kid, you think he's going to challenge you, and then he throws a changeup on you.
And he just did there to strike him out. Soto, the first out of the 8th inning. This date in history is brought to you by Dex. Dex knows. August 8th, 2001. Mike Hampton tied the National League record for pitchers with his 7th home run of the year as the Rockies beat the Cubs 14-5. Hampton's 7th homer matched the National League record shared by Don Drysdale on a couple of occasions. Don Newcomb back in '55. The big league record 9, Wes Farrell. This is slowly hit. Todd has got to get it and then get the baseline. And he had to get Chacin out of the way first. Helton checking on his former teammate Aaron Miles, making sure he was okay. 2 outs.
Well, that's good communication from Helton, because he had already told Chacin to make sure that you go to the bag. I got the ball. I've got it. I've got it. Now get out of the way so I can try to tag Aaron Miles before he tries to duck underneath this play.
In the 9-hole, the pinch hitter is going to be Mike Fontenot.
Not many appearances for Fontenot, just 0 for 7 as a pinch hitter this year. We just saw that graphic, because most of the time he's been out there starting either at second base or a lot of times over at third base when Ramirez was hurt.
Chacin misses location with that fastball. It's a 1-1 count. Rockies will have Hop, Stewart, and Iannetta in the 8th inning. 1-2. I want to correct something we said earlier on the Affleck trivia question. I followed it up talking about the Mays 16th inning home run. It was Marichal. I said it was Marichal and Koufax. It was Marichal and Warren Spahn.
Okay.
Great pitching performance. Three great pitchers. So I threw Koufax in there. It was actually Warren Spahn. Strong inning from Chacin. 6-5. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Brad Hopp will lead it off. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. You know, the Cubs have brought on Carlos Marmol. We'll tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly with Carlos Marmol. The good, from the Cubs' perspective, is he has an opponent's batting average of 166, so you know his stuff is electric. He was tremendous a year ago. He made the National League All-Star team. The bad is that he has walked 49 in 52 innings. The ugly is he's hit 10 guys in 52 innings.
Yeah, he can't get wild. That was a big discussion coming out of spring training for the Cubs. Who was going to be their closer? Was it going to be Kevin Gregg or was it going to be Carlos Marmol? Well, they decided to go with Gregg and then put Marmol in the 8th inning role. Very, very hard thrower, hard slider. Just a 2-pitch pitcher. That's going to go right after you, challenge you. He really has a unique kind of delivery, and what causes him to get out of whack a lot of times is that front shoulder flies open like a lot of pitchers and falls hard, very hard off to the first base side and doesn't stay on plane.
There's a good fastball, and he's ahead of Brad Hopp, 0-2. Brad's got a couple of hits tonight and an RBI, 2 for 3. Five runs, 10 hits for the Rockies, 6 runs, 9 hits, and an error for Chicago.
He was trying to go outside on that pitch, and it's just what I talked about a second ago. See how hard he falls over to first base and trying to hit that outside corner to a lefty? It was very difficult to do.
There's a changeup. Looked like it. That or a bad slider. 2-2. Ian Stewart is on deck. 6-5 Chicago in the 8th. That's a good piece of hitting there by Hopp.
Hey, don't forget it's time for the kids to head back to school, and there's no better place to get your Rockies apparel and school supplies than your local Rockies dugout store. Receive a free MLB logo backpack with every $75 merchandise purchase. Call 303-832-TEAM for location. Don't forget, Rockies Dugout Store, your place for all things Rockies. Kids starting back to school in Douglas County on Monday.
What happened to the summer?
Where did it go?
Crowd of 47,845, just a smidgen under an official sellout. Marmol gets the strikeout on Hopp. Let's check in again with the birthday girl, Alana Rizzo, with tonight's Great Colorado Payback Sideline Report. You enjoying yourself?
I am on my birthday. There's no place I'd rather be than at the yard. Guys, I thought Jeff Baker might get an opportunity to pinch hit in that last inning. Instead, it was Fontenot. But I had a chance to talk to Baker earlier today about his time so far with the Chicago Cubs. He said, you know what? I think it's a really nice fit. Now, clearly, he has a limited role there at the end of this season, as he did here with the Colorado Rockies, a utility guy most of the time that he was here. But he said, you know, if I can make camp with them next year in spring training, I think I have a really good chance to make it in the long run. Obviously, Jeff Baker didn't get a ton of playing time while he was here. He was riddled by injuries really in his career as the Colorado Rocky. He had a lot of strange injuries, but he thinks it's a good place for him, a good fit, and a fresh start for Jeff Baker. We wish him the best, guys.
Yeah, Baker's a good man. He has battled a lot of injuries, particularly wrist injuries. Here's the 1-1. And this ball's pulled in the hole, a base hit for Ian Stewart. So the Rockies have the time run aboard with Chris Iannetta coming up. Kind of hooked it into right field.
He did exactly that on that ball away from him. Got that front side open, was able to pull those hands and drive it to right field. A pitcher spot due after Iannetta. Garrett Atkins getting loose, already been loose down in the tunnel. That's the good thing about here at Coors Field in a lot of places. Got that tunnel, you can go ahead and get loose before you get to the on-deck circle.
Oh, 0-1 on Iannetta. Chris tonight is 0 for 3. Rockies 21-8 over their last 29 home ball games. Safe.
That was close.
closer than it needs to be.
Well, the other thing, too, is Carlos Marmo has very, very quick feet. Let's not forget he was a former catcher before they converted him to put him on the hill. So he's used to that quick glove hand transfer and getting rid of the baseball. He just couldn't hit. That's why they moved him to the hill.
We'll see another converted catcher on the hill tomorrow when Randy Wells goes out there.
Well, we saw one earlier. Jake Fox is over at third base. He was drafted as a catcher. A lot of former catchers for the Cubs now playing other positions.
One strike to count on Iannetta. Two best setup men, two best eighth inning setup men last year in the National League. Carlos Marmo. Swung on a miss, strike three. Here's tonight's Colorado Mining Association Power Hit of the Week. Garrett Atkins hit one into the night. That came against Jamie Moyer. Did you know that coal is the fastest growing fuel for electricity? Why? Because it's an abundant, affordable, and increasingly clean source of electricity. U.S. coal use has tripled over the last 30 years while the air has gotten cleaner. Marmo and, in my mind, Taylor Buchholz, the two best eighth inning men last year in the National League. And here's Atkins, pinch hitting, taking a strike.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Taylor with the fastball, big overhand curveball. Marmo's a little bit different, more of a sidearm slinger, not completely sidearm, a little low three quarters. A lot of movement. Tough to pick up the baseball. More of a fastball slider pitcher.
And looking at how the Cubs bullpen is comprised right now, the guy with the nastiest stuff throws the eighth inning, Marmo. Kevin Gregg has kind of been up and down and is far more hittable than Marmo is when Marmo's in the strike zone.
Yeah, he is, and he also got a couple days off before this series started because of that. Wasn't pitching all that well. Lou kind of set him down for a few days and didn't have to pitch in last night's ball game, so it's been a while since he's been out there. As a hitter, yeah, I'd rather face Gregg than Marmo, especially from the right side.
Tell you what, Soto doesn't reach that. Rockies have Stewart at second base. 2-2 on Atkins.
We talk about having to reach all the way back across your body. That just takes some cat-like reflexes.
This is popped up behind home plate. It's going to be well back.
Marmo overcorrected. He had thrown that ball so far outside that time he went back inside. Wasn't going to miss that far away again. Oh, good eye. Tough pitch to lay off, 84-mile-an-hour slider, but it starts off the plate and keeps working away. And now you got a full count. 2 outs, you get that extra step now because the base runner's off and running.
Marmo strikes out the side. He gets Atkins on a 3-2 pitch. We'll go to the ninth. The Cubs lead it 6-5.
Quintanilla, and it's just been a wild game. We're going to recap it all. I got a Cowboy hat on. Cowboy's got a hard hat. It's just been that kind of night, Drew. It's topsy-turvy. It's all coming up after the game. Partner.
Tell the original Cowboy I have some work for him to do at the house now that he's got a hard hat on.
He's doing YMCA. A cowboy in a hard hat doing YMCA.
You know what?
Drew said he's got some construction work for you. He's lost his mind.
Tom, you look very nice in that cowboy hat, by the way.
Thank you there, Buckaroo. Appreciate it.
Man.
We'll talk to you after the ball game there, partner.
Where's the cop in your group?
It's Stout. He's hiding back in the corner.
Wow. Helmer, you have now fully affected him.
There you go.
All right, 6-5 ball game. Rafael Betancourt is aboard to throw the 9th inning, and it'll be the top of the order for the Cubs. Ryan Theriot tonight is 2 for 4, including a big 2-out bloop single in the 6th inning, which tied up the ball game at the time, 4-4. Milton Bradley with double behind him, and put the Cubs on top, 5-4. Theriot fouls this one back. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 800 Comcast. Betancourt hits the outside corner with a slider. And it's 0-2.
Back to that breaking pitch away to Theriot.
And Theriot floats another one to the outfield. So a leadoff single for Theriot in the 9th inning. Take a look at our Geico quote of the day. He was a cross between a screwball and a changeup. It was a screw-up. Come to think of it, that was Cubs reliever Bob Patterson on a pitch thrown to Barry Larkin, resulting in a game-winning home run. A lot of guys have wanted to utter that exact line.
Bullet Bob Patterson. Played with him a couple different places, Texas and Chicago. That was only the 2nd hit allowed by Betancourt while he's been with the Rockies.
How about Chacin? He gave up his first run in his outing, but 2 innings. He gave up the home run. 4 strikeouts, didn't walk anybody. He's been very impressive. Milton Bradley at the plate, lays down a bunt, and Stewart to first. Say, if he doesn't pick that up with the bare hand, he's not going to get the out. So on the sac bunt by Bradley, Theriot in a scoring position.
Well, it doesn't get any better than this. He just laid it down. Ian Stewart had to come in and barehanded make the transfer all in one motion, get Milton Bradley as he goes down the line. He gets a sacrifice. If that ball's hit just a little bit softer, that might be a base hit. But now with Derek Lee coming up, you can go ahead and walk him to set up the double play. You're not even going to let him try to beat you. They guarantee your chance to purchase 2009 postseason tickets with a 2010 season ticket deposit. The $250 per seat deposit will ensure you have the opportunity to purchase 09 Rockies postseason tickets. Deposits are now being accepted at 303 Rockies and also at the Coors Field ticket office.
And here's the 4th wide one. So Lee goes to first. Runners at first and second, 1 out, and Jake Fox will come up. Fox came in the 7th inning when Aramis Ramirez had to leave the ball game with what is being called a sore left shoulder. And of course, he had dislocated that shoulder and was out for 2 months.
Well, good news if you're a Cubs fan, and more than likely you won't see him in the lineup tomorrow. He had to come out of tonight's game, short turnaround, 1 o'clock game here at Coors Field tomorrow. I'd be shocked if he was in the lineup.
Jake Fox has 27 RBIs and 113 at bats. excuse me, swing, and the Rockies will get the out at first base. So the runners move up. There are 2 outs, and that'll bring up Fukudome. Look again.
Well, sometimes that backup slider is the one that's the best pitch in baseball. Cam just chasing in on to Jake Fox. Easy play for Betancourt. Now with the left-handed hitter Fukudome up, Jim Tracy says, you know what? I'm going to the left-hander out in the pen.
Yeah, he doesn't miss a beat.
No, he doesn't.
And this is all about thinking ahead. And you better be thinking not only a couple innings ahead, this particular case.
Never caught.
Yeah, you never caught with your hands behind your back. So Beimel will come in to face Fukudome. 2 outs in a 1-run game. Kosuke Fukudome. Fukudome hitting just 176 against lefties. That stat not lost on Jim Tracy.
No, that's why he had Beimel warming up to follow Betancourt in case you got to this point, because you look at Fukudome, the only lefty that he has in the lineup besides Bradley, who's a switch hitter, and of course Aaron Miles behind him is a switch hitter, so he has him warming up just to come in and get Fukudome.
On the outside corner for a strike. I was talking to Richie Dower earlier, who's been in this game for a long time, an accomplished player, an accomplished coach. And he said, I love this team. I love working for Jim Tracy. Can't wait to get to the park every day. Said it's been my best year in coaching. That's outside, and it gets away for a moment. Ionetta able to keep it close enough. And he said, I have learned a lot from Jim Tracy the last couple of months. And he said, you know, you figure you've been in this game so long, you're not going to really learn anything new. How about that for a compliment?
That's a strong statement, because you see a lot of managers, you see a lot of coaches, whatever it is, to learn something new after you've been in the game as long as Richie. That just speaks volumes of Jim Tracy. And we mentioned how he always seems to be one step ahead of where the game is.
Ground ball to second. Barnes on the backhand. Throws to first. And Beimel gets his man. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies trailing by a run. Clint Barmes will lead it off. Then Seth Smith. Carlos Gonzalez. Soriano out of the ball game, and our old friend Jeff Baker is the third baseman utilized tonight by Lou Piniella. The closer is Kevin Gregg. He's had an up and down year, and one stat in particular really got my attention. He has given up 10 home runs this year in a little more than 50 innings. That is a bunch.
Well, that is. It's also the most of any reliever. So those numbers jump out at you. 21 to 26 in save opportunities, and I talked about it last half inning that he blew consecutive saves on August 1st and August 2nd in Florida, and he got the shutdown for a few days after that.
Two balls and 2 strikes on Barmes, who came into the ball game in the 7th inning and double switch and hit a home run. And he crushes this ball to deep left. Fold is there, though. That ball was hit with authority. Unfortunately, just didn't get it up in the air enough. Otherwise, he's jogging around the bases again. Fans, feed your Rockies fever at Taco Bell. Remember, when the Rockies score 7 or more runs during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the following day between 4 and 6 and feed your fever with 4 tacos for $1. Always check stores for details. 1 out. Seth Smith 1 for 4.
Sam Fold on that last ball from Clint Barmes. They're playing no doubles now, of course, with a 6-5 lead in the last inning. The outfielders really backed up, and then he didn't even have to move for that ball.
And Smith pops it up. Hopefully the wind will take this thing into the seats. And a near 3-card pileup along the wall.
That was out in the old Bermuda Triangle. When this ball first went up, you thought there might have an opportunity, but you're right, Drew. The way the wind's blowing, it's just blowing the ball from right field all the way across towards the stands in left field. Ryan Bates going after it. Ryan Theriot, Sam Fold, everybody's trying to get there, just falls harmlessly. Now you live for another day if you're Seth Smith.
See if he can take advantage. Here's the 1-1.
Greg, with left-handers, when he throws his off-speed pitch, it's either the hard slider or the hard split.
Tried to paint there and just missed. 2-2.
Well, everything so far has been away to Seth Smith. Giovanni Soto didn't even set up on the plate. He set up exactly where he wanted it, a ball that was off the plate to try to get Smith to offer at it.
Three and 2.
That was a hard split that he likes to throw to left-handers. After you go away or you elevate a fastball, come back down, change the eye angle, go working down into the zone. But that's the pitch, also the one he hangs, though. That's why he's given up 10 home runs.
This ball in the air to center field, playable for Fukudoma. 2 outs, and Carlos Gonzalez will try to keep the ball game alive. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Rockies. Get those rally caps on. Gonzalez with Helton on deck. How badly does Todd Helton want to hit? He's about 12 feet off the plate right now, waiting on deck. That pitch misses, ball 1. Todd's taking a walk now, but when Gonzalez first stepped in, Helton literally was probably 6 good strides from the batter's box.
And he'll walk right back up to the same spot before the pitch is delivered to get that timing.
Takes a stride, 1-1. Gonzalez tonight, 2 for 4.
Now you just got to go into protect mode. Cut down that swing a little bit. Make sure you read the ball out of the hand of the pitcher. He saw that the whole way. Because even after he took this pitch, was working away, Soto tried to sell it. See Cargo take that extra half step. So don't try to call me out on that one. I'm seeing the ball pretty well right now.
Let's go. Pete Rose walk to the outside corner.
That's
2-2.
right.
Not this time back. The Cubs prevail 6-5. And Kevin Gregg earns his 22nd save with a 1-2-3 ninth. Well, the Rockies had a lead, could not hold it. Ryan Dempster, the Colorado resident, gets the victory. He's 6-5. Jason Marquis takes the loss. He falls to 12-8. The first loss to a team from the Central Division since June 3rd after 15 straight wins. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Kosuke Fukudome with a home run to give the Cubs at the time a 2-run advantage. And that proved to be the difference in the ball game. Again, that home run brought to you by Jimmy John's. So 15 straight against the Central. That is over. The Rockies will try to start a new streak tomorrow afternoon. Plenty more to do tonight.